I never expected to be the kind of guy who snoops through his girlfriend's phone, but that night something felt off. Emma had been acting strange for weeks, constantly smiling at her screen, taking calls in the other room, and making excuses to stay out late. My gut told me something was wrong, so when she left her phone on the couch and went to take a shower, I hesitated for only a second before picking it up. The screen lit up with a notification, a message from Mr. J, my boss. Heart pounding, I opened it. Can't wait to see you again. Last night was incredible. Same place tomorrow. A sick feeling settled in my stomach. My hands trembled as I scrolled through their conversation. It wasn't just a fling. This had been going on for months. Dinners, hotel rooms, inside jokes, even pictures. And worst of all, she didn't just betray me, she mocked me. Ryan is so clueless, Lowell. He's sweet, but honestly, I need a man, not a boy. I felt my body go cold. Emma, the woman I had loved, the woman I had planned a future with, was laughing at me behind my back while sleeping with my boss. I didn't even realize how hard I was gripping the phone until her voice cut through the air. What are you doing? I turned to see her standing in the doorway, wrapped in a towel, eyes wide. I lifted her phone, showing her the messages. For a split second, her face flickered with something, guilt, fear. But then, to my shock, she just smirked. You weren't supposed to see that, she said, crossing her arms. But whatever, it's not like you could keep me satisfied anyway. My vision blurred with rage, but I forced myself to stay calm. I took a deep breath and said only one word. Why? Emma shrugged, completely unfazed. Because I wanted to. And because he's a real man, not some kid playing pretend. I clenched my jaw. I had seen enough. I wasn't about to let her see me break, so I just smiled and walked away. I walked straight to our bedroom, my mind a storm of emotions. I needed to get out of there, needed to be anywhere but near her. Behind me, Emma scoffed. Oh, come on, Ryan. Don't be so dramatic. Dramatic. That word nearly made me laugh. I turned to face her, gripping the doorway. You cheated on me with my boss, and I'm the dramatic one. She rolled her eyes like I was being ridiculous. Look, you're a nice guy, but I need more than whatever this is. She gestured vaguely at me. Jay has ambition, power. He knows how to take care of a woman. The way she said it, like I was some little boy she had outgrown, sent a fresh wave of anger through me, but I wasn't about to give her the satisfaction of seeing me break. I focused on packing. That's when I heard another voice. Dude, you're really leaving? I turned to see Jacob standing in the hallway, Chloe right behind him. My best friend. Or at least, I had thought so. What are you doing here? I asked, confused. Jacob shrugged, looking awkward. Emma told us to come over. Thought you might do something stupid. Something inside me snapped. Are you kidding me? I looked between them. You knew. Chloe shifted uncomfortably. Ryan, we love you, but Emma deserves to be with someone who can actually give her a good life. I let out a bitter laugh. So that's it? You both knew she was cheating on me and said nothing? Jacob sighed. Man, you're a good guy, but Jay has connections. Emma's thinking about her future. For a moment, I just stared at them, feeling something inside me harden. These weren't my friends. They had never been. I zipped up my bag, grabbed my keys, and walked past them. No yelling, no begging for explanations, just silence. As I reached the door, Emma called out, "You'll regret this, Ryan. You'll see." But I didn't turn back, not this time. The first few days were quiet, peaceful even. I ignored every call, every text. Emma, Jacob, Chloe, they all tried to reach me. I wasn't interested in whatever excuses they had. Then the post started. At first it was vague, quotes about outgrowing people and knowing your worth. Then came the direct jabs. Emma posted about toxic relationships, about how she had finally escaped manipulation. She painted herself as the victim, hinting that I had been controlling, insecure, even emotionally abusive. The worst part? People believed her. Mutual friends, people I had known for years, started unfollowing me. I got messages from people asking what I had done to her. Even my co-workers seemed distant, whispering when I walked by. I told myself to ignore it, that it didn't matter. But then I got the email. Subject: Workplace Conduct Reminder. I opened it, heart pounding. Ryan, we want to remind all employees of our commitment to maintaining a safe and respectful work environment. If there are any concerns, we encourage you to speak with HR. There was no direct accusation, no mention of Emma or Jay. But I wasn't stupid. Jay was my boss, Emma was his new toy, and suddenly I was getting reminders about workplace behavior. I clenched my fists. This wasn't just social media drama anymore, this was my career. For the first time since walking out, I felt something close to panic. I had spent years building my reputation, my stability, and now, thanks to Emma's lies and Jay's influence, it was all slipping away. I wanted to fight back, to scream the truth for everyone to hear. But I knew how this worked. The more I defended myself, the guiltier I'd look, so I stayed quiet. But I wasn't going to just sit back and let them ruin me. If they wanted to play dirty, fine, I was done being the nice guy. Work had always been my escape, a place where I could focus, prove myself, and leave personal drama at the door. But now I could feel the shift the moment I walked in. People whispered when I passed. Conversations died the second I entered a room. My emails were suddenly filled with unnecessary oversight, nitpicking details that had never been an issue before. And then there was Jay. He barely acknowledged me, but when he did, it was with this smug, satisfied look, like he had already won, like he had taken my girlfriend, my reputation, and now was just waiting for me to break. I wasn't going to give him that. I kept my head down and did my job. But the paranoia crept in. Every interaction felt like a setup. Every mistake, no matter how small, felt like it was being documented. I knew what was happening. Jay was pushing me out, slowly poisoning the environment against me, and Emma's lies had only made it easier. Then came the meeting. I was pulled into a conference room with HR and a senior manager. They kept their tone polite, professional, but I could see where this was going. We just want to ensure that all employees feel comfortable in the workplace. There have been concerns raised about your behavior outside of work. If there's anything you'd like to discuss, this is a safe space. They weren't firing me yet, but they were building a case, laying the groundwork, making it clear that if Jay wanted me gone, it wouldn't take much. I walked out of that meeting with my fists clenched so tight, my nails dug into my palms. Jay thought he had me cornered. Emma thought she had destroyed me, but they had underestimated me. I wasn't just going to sit back and let them win. I just didn't know yet that my first real ally was about to come from the most unexpected place. I was sitting alone in a coffee shop after work, staring blankly at my untouched drink, when I heard a voice behind me. "Ryan?" I turned, and my stomach dropped. It was Lauren, Jay's wife. I'd only met her a handful of times at company events. She was always polite, elegant, the kind of woman who carried herself with quiet confidence. But tonight, she looked different. Tired, wary, but determined. "Can we talk?" she asked. Every instinct told me to walk away. This had to be a trap. Some twisted game Jay and Emma were playing to humiliate me even further. But then she pulled out her phone and, without a word, showed me the screen. I froze. It was a message from Jay, one of many, and not just to Emma. There were others. A whole list of women, each conversation painting the same picture. Jay had been doing this for years. Lauren sighed, tucking her phone away. I knew he was cheating. I just didn't know how deep it went. I swallowed hard, still processing. "Why are you showing me this?" She leaned forward, lowering her voice. "Because Emma thinks she's special, but she's just another name on his list. And she's too blinded by his money to realize she's disposable." A bitter laugh escaped me. "Yeah, well, good luck convincing her of that." Lauren shook her head. "I don't care about Emma. I care about making sure Jay finally faces consequences for what he's done." Her gaze locked onto mine. "And I think you do too." For the first time in weeks, I felt something other than anger or exhaustion. Hope. Lauren wasn't just here to vent. She had a plan, evidence, and she wasn't afraid to use it. I leaned back, exhaling slowly. "What exactly do you have in mind?" Her lips curled into a small, knowing smile. "Let's just say, I hope you like watching people get exactly what they deserve. I didn't know how, but in that moment, I realized something. This fight wasn't over, and for the first time, I wasn't fighting it alone. Lauren didn't waste time. Within days, she had compiled everything, screenshots, emails, even financial records that hinted at something much bigger than just infidelity. This isn't just about Jay cheating, she said, sliding a folder across the table to me. This is about him abusing his power. And if we play this right, he won't just lose his job, he'll lose everything. I flipped through the documents, my pulse quickening. Jay wasn't just sleeping with employees. He was using company funds for luxury trips under the guise of business expenses. Expensive gifts, fancy dinners, all conveniently hidden. Emma had no idea. She thought she had won, securing a future with a powerful man. But she was just another pawn in Jay's game. And soon she'd realize how easily he discarded people. Lauren and I divided tasks. She worked on gathering more evidence through her lawyer, while I reached out to a few ex-employees Jay had been involved with. At first, they were hesitant, but once they realized they weren't alone, the stories poured in. One woman, Jenna, had been pressured into leaving after refusing Jay's advances. Another, Megan, had been promised a promotion that mysteriously disappeared once he lost interest in her. Piece by piece, the perfect storm was forming. Meanwhile, Emma kept flaunting her new life. Social media was filled with posts about fancy restaurants, new designer bags, captions about finally being treated like a queen. She was so busy showing off that she didn't notice the cracks forming beneath her. Jay was too arrogant to see it coming. And me? I was patient. I didn't lash out, didn't defend myself online. I let them enjoy their little fantasy while the walls slowly closed in. Then, the opportunity we needed arrived. A company gala. The biggest event of the year. Everyone important would be there. The perfect stage for everything to come crashing down. Lauren smirked as she scrolled through her phone. You ready for this? I took a deep breath, feeling the weight of everything leading up to this moment. Oh, I've been ready. The gala was extravagant. Huge chandeliers, flowing champagne, and a room full of executives pretending they weren't miserable in their overpriced suits. Jay thrived in settings like this, shaking hands, laughing too loudly, basking in the attention, and right by his side, Emma. She looked stunning, draped in a dress I had no doubt Jay had paid for. She clung to his arm like she had won the lottery, smiling at every camera, oblivious to the storm about to hit. Lauren and I stayed in the background, waiting for the perfect moment. She had already coordinated with a few key people, board members, investors, even a journalist who had been looking for a scandal like this. Then, Lauren stepped onto the stage. The chatter in the room died down as she took the mic. Jay smiled at first, but it quickly faded as she pulled out her phone. I wasn't planning on making a speech tonight, Lauren began, her voice steady. But I think it's time some truths come to light. The first message appeared on the massive projector screen behind her. A text from Jay to one of his many mistresses. The crowd murmured. The next slide, emails detailing his misuse of company funds. Then bank statements, expense reports, witness statements. Gasps echoed through the room. Jay turned pale, frozen in place as his entire life unraveled in real time. Emma's smile vanished. She turned to Jay, whispering something, but he ignored her. He was too busy trying to figure out how to spin this. Security approached. Board members whispered among themselves. And then, the final blow, Lauren's lawyer stepped forward, handing over an official lawsuit for misconduct and financial fraud. Jay was finished. Emma, realizing the sinking ship she was on, tried to slink away, but I made sure to catch her eye. I didn't say a word, just smiled, the same way she had when she told me I wasn't man enough. And in that moment, she knew. She had backed the wrong horse, and there was no way out now. The aftermath was brutal. Jay was escorted out of the gala like a criminal, his face pale as security led him through the whispering crowd. Within hours, the company released a statement announcing his immediate termination and an internal investigation into financial misconduct. News articles followed, detailing his affairs, his abuse of power, and his inevitable legal troubles. Lauren filed for divorce the next day. And she wasn't playing nice. She had everything: evidence of his cheating, financial fraud, and unethical behavior. Jay didn't just lose his job, he lost his reputation, his wealth, and soon, his home. But what about Emma? She tried to play dumb at first, acting as if she had no idea about Jay's crimes. But people weren't buying it. Screenshots of her texts leaked, showing how she had mocked me, bragged about upgrading her life, and trashed me to anyone who would listen. She became a joke overnight. The same friends who had defended her, gone. The same people who had cheered her on, silent. Even Jacob and Chloe, her biggest supporters, distanced themselves. No one wanted to be associated with her now. The final blow came when Jay himself turned on her. He cut her off completely. No money, no gifts, nothing. She had bet everything on him, and now he was drowning, taking her down with him. I heard through mutual connections that she had to move back in with her parents, jobless, humiliated, and abandoned by the people she once called friends. And me? I watched it all unfold without lifting a finger. No revenge post, no gloating. I didn't need to. They had destroyed themselves, and it was only just beginning. I thought I was done with Emma, that she would just disappear, finally realizing there was nothing left for her here. But then she showed up. It was late, and I had just gotten home from work when I heard the knock. I hesitated before opening the door, and when I did, there she was, Emma, looking nothing like the confident woman who had laughed in my face weeks ago. Her makeup was smudged, her designer dress replaced with an old hoodie. She looked desperate. "Ryan," she started, forcing a weak smile. "Can we talk?" I leaned against the doorframe, arms crossed. "About what?" She sighed. "I made a mistake, okay? Jay, he used me. Laid to me. I thought he actually cared, but he just threw me away like I was nothing." She looked up at me, eyes pleading. "But you always cared." I almost laughed. Almost. "You're joking, right?" She flinched. "Ryan, come on. I know I hurt you, but we were good together. Maybe we can—" I held up a hand, cutting her off. "Let me get this straight. You cheated on me, humiliated me, lied about me, and now that your life is falling apart, you want me back?" She swallowed hard. "I was stupid, okay? I let people get in my head. I miss you." For a moment, I just looked at her. Then I smiled, the same way she had when she told me I wasn't man enough. And I shut the door in her face. I heard her call my name, but I didn't care. Emma had made her choice, and now she had to live with it. Closing that door on Emma felt like closing the last chapter of a book I should have never started. And for the first time in a long time, I felt free. With Jay gone, work became bearable again. The tension lifted, and soon it was like he had never existed. His legal troubles made headlines for weeks: embezzlement, workplace misconduct, lawsuits from multiple former employees. He was done. Emma? She faded into the background, just another cautionary tale. She tried reaching out a few more times, but I never responded. Eventually, she gave up. And me? My life moved forward. I got promoted. Turns out when your boss is corrupt and suddenly gone, there's a spot to fill. With the extra money, I moved into a new apartment, one that didn't have memories of betrayal lingering in every corner. And for the first time, I started seeing someone new. Someone who respected me, who didn't measure my worth by my bank account or connections. Looking back, I could have gone scorched earth, dragged Emma's name through the mud, made sure she never recovered socially. But the truth is, and I didn't need to. She had already destroyed herself. Because the best revenge, it isn't screaming or fighting or proving a point, it's moving on, thriving, becoming the version of yourself they never thought you could be. So now, I ask you, was I wrong for letting karma do the work? Should I have done more? Or was walking away the real victory? You tell me.